Hi, this is the session 3 of Claire Bowman. In this case, Claire is being played as Carlos. We'll begin session 3. So, hi Carlos, how are you today?
Good, thank you. Yourself?
Yeah, really well. Yeah, good. And how's things been since our last session?
Well,
the last two.
I feel very guilty for have to leave my son.
Okay.
Home.
Yeah. So, I mean, you came to the decision about the 3 days a week.
Yeah, 3 days a week.
And
but
now you're feeling
a
bit guilty
bit
about
guilty
that.
about that.
Okay. Yeah.
I got a few discussions with my wife.
Okay, and how did that go?
Well, she's screaming, nagging me.
Okay.
And I started screaming her.
Okay. I do remember in our last session that you kind of mentioned that a new issue had arisen and that you've been starting to snap at your wife.
Yeah.
And yell at her. Is that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and is that something that's kind of making you feel a bit
guilty and bad.
Bad about it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I mean, we can work on that. Certainly in this session. One technique that I like to use sometimes is kind of looking at the behaviour and exploring the emotions and sensations that you have that trigger that kind of behaviour and how what comes of the outcome of after you were kind of yelling and the outcome that produces for you. So I suppose we can, as we've only got a brief amount of time, we can talk about that now.
Yeah.
So you're saying before you yell at your wife, what are some of the feelings that you're feeling before you yell at her? What?
I'm feeling is this guilt for she stopped nagging me and because when I started yelling at her, she stopped.
Okay, so would it be fair to say you're feeling frustration?
Yeah, frustration because I think both, a little bit both.
Okay, so a bit of frustration and a bit of anger around what's
absolutely.
and so it kind of you're feeling those feelings after she's nagging you about the situation, and that's when you start
to feel frustrated,
angry, and like what kind of physical sensations does that give to you?
I don't know how to explain. He's anxious and
so anxiety, okay, and then and then when you kind of get to that point where you're exploding, how does that feel? Does that kind of feel like you're getting things off your chest?
Thing is the take out all of the stuff,
the anger that you're feeling, and what result does that kind of produce? Does it make how do you feel
bad? I feel guilty.
Okay. But it kind of stops the behaviour from the wife. Okay. But
But not feel great.
Yeah, after it. Okay. So I mean, we can certainly work on those feelings of frustration and anger, and maybe some techniques in how you can discuss things with your wife, so that it doesn't get to that point where you explode and then you're feeling guilty afterwards. So sometimes you can use techniques such as we could work on kind of some meditation, breathing techniques, so forth, like that. Sometimes even removing yourself from the situation might be an idea to take the heat out of things. So that's something that we could work on anyway, discussing those strategies around those feelings that you're having that precipitate that behaviour of the screaming and the yelling. How does that feel for you? How does that? Do you think that could be a goal?
Could be a goal,
Goal that we can work to. All right. So, no. So I mean, I think that's something that we can definitely work towards moving forward. So do you want to give me an example of like when you've lost it with your wife? Like
yeah, because it's when she don't listen me or
okay.
what try to explain and
yeah. So you're feeling frustrated and
about
angry. And like, so when that happened last time, how long did the feelings go on for before you kind of started screaming?
Every time is less time.
Less
and less.
You're feeling less patient.
Yeah.
No, and that's and I mean, what was the consequences of the yelling? Did it kind of
big discussions?
Okay, so it did
after
bring out
a few
some...
days bath together and it's not
okay.
Something that we have to solve.
Yeah. So what are some things that maybe you think could decrease that kind of, like things that could maybe prevent that from happening?
Well, I think they have to listen more.
Yeah.
What they have to say.
Do you think generally having a discussion with her might facilitate that?
Could be.
Yeah, okay. Well, we can definitely work on that and move towards that.
All right.
So I think we've talked about having a feedback form in relation to how you've been going with your sessions and how you're feeling. And how are you feeling with the sessions?
With the sessions, very well. Okay. All good.
It's all going good.
All going good, the sessions.
Right.
I'm very happy with that.
And you're feeling a bit better around your decision. About Ethan. And that's kind of working well for you in that respect.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. I think that basically we can work on the behaviours that the new presenting issue, which is the screaming. We can talk about some ways of communicating with your wife, maybe to avoid it getting to that situation. And identifying those physical reactions that you're feeling that trigger that kind of behaviour, and then you're noting that the outcome isn't that kind of great afterwards, and maybe it could help your relationship. What are you feeling about that?
Sounds great.
Okay. All right. Well, I think we'll discuss that in our next session.
All right,
Carlos.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right. So okay. So feedback from the session. So in relation to the counselling notes, basically I've got the background of Carlos has made the decision to go back to work 3 days a week. Also, the new presenting issue is the arguments with his wife and the screaming and yelling. Presenting issues, I'd say, is that new issue in that he's screaming. Things are getting to the point where he can't feel that there's any other behaviour to do other than basically taking it out in screaming, and then that leads to avoidance of probably the issues that were present to begin with, but then it creates a new problem of marital discord. So the goals would be to learn to kind of work on those antecedent behaviour triggers to try and stop it from escalating to that position. Interventions, I think we could look at the communication styles between Carlos and his wife, and maybe even some meditation type and breathing techniques to calm him down when he gets to that kind of position. And then in the next session we'd kind of touch into how he was going with that, and what further goals he had. All right, so basically with the communication skills, could have probably teased out more as to what's actually getting them to the point where he's screaming and everything, and also just kind of see, just find out more about the relationship and why it's kind of declining a bit in that respect, why, also with more in relation to the job. So in relation to Claire's personality and development theories, maybe look at some kind of attachment theories in relation to Claire's parents, and maybe even look at you know, kind of the developmental aspects of her childhood and the relationships with her parents, which, like with Carlos's parents, in relation to, you know, him kind of maybe not picking the best ways of communicating, and yeah, maybe explore a bit further into his childhood and what kind of communication styles his parents had, so that we could develop that further into our sessions. So thanks a lot.